Bathweso madume tseno ke dikgang tsa loleme la Setswana tseo di tlisediwang ke Keotshepile Mokate mo Platinum Northwest TV tla re lebelele tseo di itlhomileng kwa setlhoeng. Moporesidente Ramaphosa o beile tona Mcunu mo malatsing a boikhutso a kgethegileng. Mo go tse dingwe, SALGA e tshwere kopano ya bommasepala ya tshekatsheko ya white paper mo tsamaisong ya puso-selegae. Moporesidente Ramaphosa o na bua le setšhaba mo bosigong jwa maabane tebang le ditatofatso tsa mokomišenara wa sepodisi kwa KwaZulu-Natal Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi tse a di dirileng kgatlhanong le tona ya mapodisi Mcunu le batlhankedi bagolo bangwe mabapi le go buisana le bao ba golagangwang le bosenyi. Moporesidente o beile Mcunu mo malatsing a boikhutso a kgethegileng mme a re Professor Kgethegileng o tla dira jaaka tona ya sepodisi ya nakwana.
In order for the Commission to execute its functions effectively, I have decided to put the Minister of Police, Mr. Mcunu, on leave of absence with immediate effect. The Minister has undertaken to give his full cooperation to the Commission to enable it to work properly. I have decided to appoint Professor Kgethegileng as Acting Minister of Police. Professor Kgethegileng is currently a Professor of Law at the University of the Witwatersrand and is the Chairperson of the National Anti-Corruption Advisory Council. He previously served as an MEC of Community Safety in Gauteng. I'm appointing Professor Kgethegileng in terms of Section 91(3) subsection C of the Constitution, which empowers the Constitution to select no more than 2 ministers from outside the National Assembly. Professor Kgethegileng will be retiring from his current position at the University of Witwatersrand at the end of July this year. I will, in the interim, appoint an acting minister from within Cabinet until Professor Kgethegileng takes up his post at the beginning of August. The interregnum, therefore, will be just a little over 2 weeks. This commission is being established against the backdrop of significant progress that has been made in rebuilding and strengthening our country's law enforcement agencies and security services.
Gabagare moeteledipele wa DA John Steenhuisen a re maloko a puso-tshwaraganelo ya bosetšhaba ga akarediwa mo ditshwetsong tse di tserweng ke moporesidente. Mcunu o amogetse tshwetso ya moporesidente ya go neela malatsi a boikhutso. Ramaphosa a re motlatsamatlhodimogolo wa nama o sa tshwere Mbuyiseli Matlanga o tla etelela pele Komishene ya Boatlhodi ya Dipatlisiso.
To address these allegations and the implications of these allegations, I'm establishing a Judicial Commission of Inquiry that will be chaired by Acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseli Matlanga. Justice Matlanga will be assisted by Advocate Sesi Baloyi, Senior Counsel, and Advocate Sandile Khumalo, Senior Counsel. The Commission will investigate allegations relating to the infiltration of law enforcement, intelligence, and associated institutions within the criminal justice system by criminal syndicates. Among the allegations that the Commission may investigate are the facilitation of organized crime, suppression or manipulation of investigations, inducement into criminal actions by law enforcement leadership, commission of any other criminal offenses, and intimidation, victimization or targeted removal of whistleblowers or officials that are resisting criminal influence. The Commission will investigate the role of current or former senior officials in certain institutions who may have aided or abetted the alleged criminal activity, or failed to act on credible intelligence or internal warnings, or benefited financially or politically from a syndicate's operations. These institutions are the South African Police Service, the National Prosecuting Authority, State Security Agency, the Judiciary and the Magistracy, and the Metropolitan Police Departments of Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, and Tshwane.
Tla re tsene mo go tsa mo porofenseng. Motlhankedi mogolo wa SALGA Lance Jewel le modulasetilo wa Northwest Khumalo Molefe ga mmogo le bommeaelwa ba bommasepala ba porofense ba ne ba tshwere kopano ya boraro ya SALGA ya go sekaseka white paper ya puso ya selegae ka Labotlhano. Lephata leno le itemogetse kwelomorago mo tiragatsong ka ntlha ya mathata a tsamaiso puso le go neelana ka ditirelo. Ba dikgang tsa rona ba nile mo puisanong le motlhankedi mogolo wa SALGA Lance Jewel.
So earlier you also mentioned on simplifying local government for the ordinary South African citizen. So just the recommendations mentioned in today's review, how will they be implemented to ensure that they indeed they reflect the needs of regular communities?
Well, because of the legislative and regulatory nature of where local government finds itself, it is quite complex. So we have made it difficult for ourselves. And why is that so? Because there's a general mistrust in local government. Our view is that at times that mistrust is uninformed, it is selective, it is not dealing with the real issues. So local government has been made complex by ourselves beyond the fact that in its nature, because it's so close to the people, it is fairly complex. The reality and the point that we are making on simplifying is that we must do more to educate the public and perhaps also other spheres of government on how complex local government is as a starting point and what needs to be done to reduce that complexity. And in doing so, it requires a conversation to unpack this complex nature in a very simplified way.
Thank you so much.
Modulasetilo wa porofense Khumalo Molefe o buile ka ga dilo tse di botlhokwa mo mmasepaleng mo tshekatshekong ya white paper.
The top priorities that this review have touched on?
Look, for us as SALGA Northwest, our strongest view, we are moving from a premise that one, local government is over-regulated and we need to debunk and dismantle that so that local government is able to move. For us, that is the first. The second thing for us is the separation of powers. This is the only sphere, local government, where the legislature and the executive operate in the same space. What I mean by that is that the mayor leads the executive, the speaker leads the legislature, which is council, but the executive does not have its powers, let's say, to appoint. For you to appoint a senior manager as the executive, you must have that tabled before the legislature, which is council. But when you go to national spheres and the provincial sphere, for a premier or an MEC to appoint a senior manager or an HOD, they don't have to go to the legislature. They do it outright. Now, for us to mete out consequence management against municipal managers and senior managers, we have to, the furthest we can go is that as a mayor you must generate a report for 50 and 72 other people in the legislature who are council. Now, what if the municipal manager is lubricated and taken care of them? It means that report will be ridiculed, will never see the eyes of the day. Who suffers? Because you are the mayor, you are responsible for administration to supervise the municipal manager and the entire administration. But you don't have powers to discipline them. You rely on the legislature, which is council. For me, these are some of the impediments. But the third thing which is critical is that all of us agree that local government is underfunded. We only get 10% of the overall fees. No, it's not even 8%. It's less. It's not even 10%. It's less than 10% of the current fiscus of the country, 8%. With this review, they are suggesting that we go to 10%, which means they still assume that local government will fund itself. How do you fund yourself? Through revenue generation mechanisms. But how do you generate revenue? To rates and taxes. Who do you tax? It's the very people who are unemployed, who are poor, who rely on grants. Is that ideal that you can still self-fund yourself 90%? It's not applicable anymore. In 1998, we envisaged that, but practice tells us that that thing is not possible if you take care of our socio-economic realities, and therefore we need to change that thing. The other thing that troubles us is the powers of the provincial sphere and national sphere to intervene in municipalities when municipalities can't perform their functions. But the law is not telling us what must the local sphere do to the provincial sphere and national sphere if they can't perform their responsibilities. We are being undermined every day and degraded by the provincial and national sphere. Let me make an example. Just recently, we saw letters from the Minister of Treasury or Finance, who is saying, you municipalities, you owe water boards, and on the basis of me having listened to water boards, I intend to withhold your equitable share. Equitable share is money set aside for the very poor who can pay services, right? But the minister has only listened to water boards. He has not listened to municipalities. Many of the things that he says he must pay are disputed. Now look at it. When municipalities or ESCOM, what happens? The minister comes in. He listens to ESCOM. He withholds our equitable share. National and provincial sphere of government or the municipalities billions of rands. Have you ever heard the minister saying, I am going to withhold their money? Not once, never. Now let me tell you, when SAA has got a financial crisis, when DNEL has a financial crisis, when ESCOM has a financial crisis, what happens? The national sphere comes in, they bail out these entities. I have municipalities in the province, Ditsobota, Tswaing, you name them, who can't pay salaries. There is nobody coming in to bail out municipality, not even to buy a municipality a TLB. You see? So we are saying this is an opportunity. The review of the local, the white paper on local government is an opportunity for us to reimagine, reposition, and repurpose the local sphere of government and come up with a responsive, effective, and efficient sphere of government. Not the sphere of government whose purpose is to be condemned, to be insulted and yelled about. This thing is not a solution. We need to work together with other spheres of government and the people of South Africa and the traditional leaders to repurpose and reposition.
Mo go tse dingwe tsa mono porofenseng, setlhopha sa dipatlisiso se se nang le ditheo tse di farologaneng se se neng se bopilwe ke ba lephata la dipatlisiso tsa bosenyi se ne sa laelwa go simolola tiro ya diura di le 72 ya go batla David Philemon Monese yo timetseng. Sebueledi sa sepodisi mo Northwest, Colonel Adel Maybeck, a re tiro ya setlhopha e lebisitse kwa go tshwareng ga Lucas Enoch Mkhize ka mosupologo wa beke e fetileng gaufi le Ramatlabama kwa Mahikeng.
Following a missing person case reported at Mokate at the end of June, a multidisciplinary investigation and tracking team consisting of Crime Intelligence, Provincial Murder and Robbery Unit, Rustenburg Vehicle Crime Investigation Unit, and Mokate detectives was tasked to activate a 72-hour operation to unravel the disappearance of the victim, David Philemon Monese. He is 59. He was last seen at work on Friday, the 27th of June of 2025. The team immediately got down to work, following a number of leads, which led to the identification and subsequent arrest of a 39-year-old suspect, Lucas Enoch Makize, on Monday, the 7th of July on the N8.
Re di wetsafatsa porofense ga jana re tsena mo go tsa bosetšhaba. Tona ya boitekanelo Motsoaledi a re go tlhomamisitswe gore Aforika Borwa e tla nna le maokelo a 4 a mašwa a thuto mo diporofenseng tse di neng di sena maokelo a thuto nako e fetileng. Seno se itsisitswe ka nako ya go rebolwa ga tekanyetsokabo ya lefapha mo bekeng e fetileng. Motsoaledi a re go agiwa ga bookelo jo boswa jwa thuto kwa Limpopo go simolotse. Tla re tsene mo go tsa boditšhabatšhaba. Setheo sa pabalesego ya baagi sa Gaza sa re Bapalestina ba le 10 le bana ba le 6 ba bolailwe ka nako ya tlhaselo e bolotsweng ke Iseraele ka difofane kwa lefelong la kabo ya metsi kwa kampeng ya Nusrati. Red Cross ya re e setse e alefile batho ba ba gobetseng ba ba fetang 130. Morago ga tiragalo ya sešweng e lebisitseng kwa go gobaleng ga batho ba le bantsi ba baneng ba le kwa mafelong a kabo ya dijo a laolwang ke setlhopha se se tshegediwang ke Iseraele sa Amerika GHF. Re di wetsafatsa boditšhabatšhaba mme re tsena mo go tsa kgwebo. Setlamo sa Eskom se dirile kgatelopele mo tumalanong le African Bank go rekisa kgwebo ya sona ya kadimo ya matlo e nang le buka kadimo ya diranta tse dibilione tse 5.7. Ka Sedimonthole Eskom e itsisitse fa e amogetse thebolelo e tlamang go tswa go African Bank ka ga buka kadimo ya ntlo ya badiri le dithoto tse di leng mo Eskom Finance Company SOS Limited le seabe sa yona mo Nqaba Finance RF Limited. Ka kgwebo eno, Eskom e neetse badiri ba yona dikadimo tsa matlo mme ya goga go tswa mo dituelong tsa bona. Tla re tsene mo go tsa metshameko. Setlhopha sa Orlando Pirates se itsisitse tumalano ya go fetisetsa Mohau Nkota kwa Ettifaq Club mo Saudi Pro League. Go fuduga gono go tla moraga setlha sa ntlha sa ga Nkota se se gakgamatsang le Buccaneers kwa tshamekile makgetlo a le 39 ka dinno tse 12. O nnile mongwe wa batshameki ba ba rategang mme a nna a le teng ka metlha mo ikatisong ya mokatisi wa gagwe wa pele Jose Riveiro. Mo go tse dingwe tsa metshameko, makgwebo wa Aforika Borwa Sean Mkhize o na tlhophiwa semmuso jaaka moeteledipele yo moswa wa Mbabane Highlanders AM Football Club ka nako ya moletlo wa semmuso kwa Eswatini ka Lamatlhatso. Mkhize ga nna mong wa setlhopha ka botlalo mme o tsene mo tumalanong ya dingwaga di le 3 ya botsamaisi. Seno ke ka ntlha ya go khutlisiwa ga Royal AM mo Premier Soccer League kwa tshimologong ya ngwaga ono ka ntlha ya dikoloto tsa lekgetho le go palelwa ke go tlotla metshameko e neng e beile setlhopha sa ga Mkhize sa pele ka fa tlase ga tlhokomelo. Tla jaanong re di wetse ka tseo di tlhomileng kwa setlhoeng. Moporesidente Ramaphosa o beile tona Mcunu mo malatsing a boikhutso a kgethegileng. Mo go tse dingwe, SALGA e tshwere kopano ya bommasepala ya tshekatsheko ya white paper mo tsamaisong ya puso-selegae. Re di wetsa fa mogaetsho go fitlhela re kopana gape mo nakong e tlang ke Keotshepile Mokate, mothweso sala sentle.